Trey Lewellen here with another episode of Kommerce Kings podcast, bringing on James, the man who sells from stage and kills it. I've seen him at many masterminds that I'm in, and then he's always crushing with like just some amazing stuff to bring to the audience. So you're always giving out golden nuggets. So when I saw you today on the Kommerce Kings podcast, man, I got to tell you, I was actually really excited because I love learning from you. I love watching you. I love listening to you from the background, from the backdrop and hearing what you got to say, because you're definitely well respected in multiple industries. So welcome.
Hey, my man, thanks so much. And likewise, I've learned so much from you. You are the king of funnels and king of selling like everything in the world and the universe.
we try, we do our best. Sometimes, it's our failures that make us successful on the product side, like no one sees all the failure products.
That's right, man. How many times I bombed from the stage that got me to where I'm blessed to be today.
Dude, how did you get so good at selling from stage?
Oh, man, my first real chance to sell from the stage was back in 2004 or 3, I think it was. Mark Victor Hansen, co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He had this big conference for speakers, authors, trainers, experts, and he put me up on the stage. And it was myself and Jack Canfield, Dan Kennedy, a bunch of big marketing people. It was my first big break, right? And so I could not believe, I'm like 500 some people. I can't believe 500 people are all going to buy my product. And I got up there, Trey, and I sold zero, man. I bombed I didn't even know what I was doing. I just thought that everybody would buy from me. And so that propelled me to start just researching and learning. And here's the main key is I realized that I was a speaker and I spoke, but I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to speak. And so, yeah, I got started. I bombed horribly. And I went on this quest over the next 18 months, and I invested $100-some thousand and went to every training, read every book. And I just realized, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. So I had to fix it all. So that's how I got started.
And that was back in 2003?
2003, yeah, maybe 3 or 4. So I've been doing this quite a while.
Wow. And so kind of take me through that, 2003. And then when did you sell your first product from stage? When was that first success?
So here's what happened. It took me about 2.5, maybe 3 years of learning to actually get it. There were no blueprints. There were no people teaching this stuff. I was learning from all these different folks and kind of duct taping it together. And, I'll take this from this person, that from that person. And I don't want to do that because that's kind of slimy what he suggests, kind of just taping it all together. It took me about 3 years until I figured it out. And I remember the first time I did it, I went from 0 to 32,000. I remember 32,000. It was a small group of 20 people, 32,000 in product sales. My first time where it kind of clicked. And then it just went up from there, 50 grand, 100 grand, $500,000, and just kept climbing and climbing. And so, but it took 3 years to get it to click.
Yeah. No, that's great. So how did you make money, or how did you live within those first 2 to 3 years since you weren't selling anything from stage?
Yeah, fortunately, I can't. There's 2 parts of speaking. There's the world of experts and running your own event and selling stuff online. And there's this other world that's fee-paid speaking for corporations, associations, universities, colleges. So I was doing this a lot when I got into this. See, the reason I was asked to start selling from the stage and teaching speaker stuff is I was very accomplished as a fee-paid speaker. And I had done so many talks. I was averaging 100 fee-paid talks a year, 100 or more. And so a lot of people in the expert, now it's known as the expert space, but back then it was information marketing space. They would ask me to come and teach, how do you get into speaking? If I wanted to get paid to talk, how do you get to it? And so when I came into our world, if you will, I remember the first time somebody called me and said, we want you to speak. And I said, well, here's my fee. And they're like, no, you don't get paid. You come and you sell something. I'm like, what are you talking about? Sell something? I have no idea what you're talking about. But that's how I got into it. I started as a fee-paid speaker. So I supported myself when I was learning how to do speak and offer, speak and sell. I supported myself by being a fee-paid speaker because I was doing really well at it prior to coming into this space. So even though I bombed at Mark Victor Hansen's and bombed for 3 years, fortunately, I was still over here doing this fee-paid stuff. And I still do it today. To this day, I still do 50 fee-paid talks a year or more.
Wow. How many talks are you doing a year?
I'd say probably about 60 to 70. I still do in front of live audiences because I've raised my fees are pretty high right now. You know,
Yeah.
like I go for 40 grand for an hour, 50 grand for 2 hours. A whole day is 100 grand. A whole week is 500,000. And then if they want me for 12 months and to speak for like 4 weeks and 12 months, it's $1 million as a fee. So
Good. That's great. That's fantastic. That's what's up. Now, when you present yourself with the fees, is there any pushback, or do people just sign that over and say, "Hey, that's fantastic. 50 grand it is"?
There is some pushback. However, it's the craziest thing. And this is maybe a great thing for everyone watching and listening. You know, the higher I raised my fees, the better people thought I was. You know, it's like my talks were the same, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's not like I went from being a horrible speaker to like phenomenal speaker. I was still doing the same talks. And, but it's crazy. And that's one of the things I teach now is positioning on your pricing. You know, the higher you charge for your products and services, the better people think you are. I mean, let's put it together. Mercedes next to Honda, right? I've had both of them. And I'll tell you, like, I kind of think the Honda's the better car.
Yeah.
You know, as far as durability, engine, I never had a problem at all. Never had a problem, right? But why is the Honda 25 grand and a Mercedes is 80, 100 grand? Package presentation, you know? Why is a Rolls Royce, you know, the Phantom, what is it, $500,000, right? Is it really that much better of a car than a Honda?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's get you. My what I always said is, you know, this car is here to get me from A to B, and on the weekends C.
Yeah, Sam Walton used to drive an old pickup truck.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, there's many stories around the cars that people are driving and whatnot. Of, you know, like you got Warren Buffett still driving his old car, still living in his old house. You know,
Yeah.
but a multi-billionaire. Like it's absolutely stunning. So with the speaking, so you went from 2 to 3 years going from fee-based to selling-based. Which one do you like more? Do you like the fee-based, or do you like the selling from stage-based now?
You know, I truly love the peak performance, fee-based type speaking. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do, man. I get so jazzed up to light people on fire. And however, from a business standpoint, the speaking and selling is way more lucrative. I have folks that saw me speak at a Dan Kennedy marketing conference over 10 years ago who bought a package there and who are still, to this day, my coaching clients 10 plus years later. So every year paying high coaching fees for 10 plus years, right? And I've got a number of those. So from a business perspective and a better back end, speaking and selling is way more lucrative over the long term.
No, yeah, that's incredible. Now, do you do anything outside of speaking, or like, what are you selling on your stage?
Yeah, so when I'm actually doing a speak and sell, usually I'm talking about how you can get paid as a speaker for your knowledge, your time, your experience, your message, your story, and how to package all that up. So I run a boot camp called Big Money Speaker Boot Camp, and I have coaching programs centered around it. We have 120 different coaching members in our coaching program. So I'm usually, when I speak and sell, I usually am teaching people how to do what I'm actually doing, which is get paid to speak or speak and sell or run your own live events or coaching program.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then okay, so from there, it seems like, you know, you got 60 speaking events a year. Those people roll into your programs, and then up ascend into your coaching clients. What do you say?
Yeah, so so I sell a package where people get to come to my house for they get online courses. And this is important. This is one of the things. Let me share with you our funnel.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay,
it's a very simple funnel. I was just on a virtual summit for Bill Glazer, who was Dan Kennedy's marketing partner. Russell Brunson was on there, a bunch of Ryan Dice. And the reason he had me on was my unique funnel. My funnel has been this way for years. It's very simple. So I speak or I do webinars and I make an offer. Included in the offer, and this is a key, I have different modalities of learning, different methods for people to learn. Because, Trey, you may learn best by going through a digital online course, right?
Mm-hmm.
I may learn best from an intensive, like a seminar. Someone else may learn best from like a coaching, like mastermind thing. So years ago, I got kind of smart, and my conversions went through the roof when I put in different modalities of learning for the student, for the prospect, because I don't know, especially like on a webinar, I don't know who's watching.
Sure.
I don't know how they best learn. So I thought, well, wait, if I get strategic and I put in different modalities of learning for people, then I pretty much can capture everyone. I can capture a big net, like cast out a big net and capture more people into the net based on how their learning style is. So you buy my package, you basically get to online courses, digital courses. You get to come to the 3-day training, like the event. But then this is the kicker, and this is what so many people buy. The third piece in that puzzle is you get to come to my house for a 2-day mastermind with me. In my house, I have a little 15-person conference room. So think about that. I have 3 different modalities of learning. So I always try to teach folks, if you want to increase your conversions, one of the easiest ways to do that is to have different methods of learning in there for people, because you don't know how they best learn. Yeah. So for one price, you get, and it's a kill. Like it's at $9.97 and you get all of that. Is that crazy?
Okay. That's a incredible price for all of that.
It's one of the reasons my conversions are so high when I speak and offer. I believe you just serve and give so much stuff to people that they can't say no to you, because you're serving them first, you're helping them, you're giving them so much value that I call it my dumbass close.
Yeah, yeah.
I literally want people to go, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'd have to be a dumbass to not take this. Look at all the stuff I get. You know?
Yeah. So with Facebook ads and speaking arrangements, especially at a 50% cutoff, like how do you make any money from that?
So here's the real ninja. Ready? My funnel.
Get the funnel.
Okay. When they come to my house, ready?
I'm ready.
71.6% upsell rate into our coaching program. Almost 72%, 7 out of 10. I haven't hit 100% yet. I've gotten like 14 out of 15. I've gotten like 11 out of 12, but like I can't hit 100%. It's driving me crazy. Like I think anybody would take 70% into a coaching program where the retail of the coaching is $25,000 and $100,000. So.
Yeah. So you got 7 people out of 10.
That's our funnel. That's our funnel.
So 7 people out of the 10 are taking the $25,000 offer?
Most of them, yeah.
Most of them. And then what's the payment plan on something like that?
What is it, $23.65 a month, something like that for 12 months.
Oh, so you're just doing a full 12-month.
Yeah.
Are you doing contracts with them or no contracts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I have a contract. Yeah. We have a 12-month agreement that, it's pretty ironclad. I've been doing this for 15 plus years with coaching programs. So, yeah, it's not just like you can cancel anytime. And I'm very straight and upfront in the beginning. Say, hey, this is a 12-month non-cancelable agreement. So if you're not serious about sticking with us for 12 months, because I really think I can help somebody tremendously in 12 months versus like a 3-month or 6-month. Look, if you're not willing to stay with us, man, then don't even fill out the form. And we got great renewal. I've got folks who've been with me for 10 years, man.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's what you want, that longevity.
Yeah, so think about my funnel's real simple. I run a webinar, or we do whole Facebook traffic, to a webinar. Make this great offer. It's the same offer that I do when I'm in front of a live audience. And they get to come to the event where we're going to offer our coaching programs, or they get to come to the mastermind at my house, not in a hotel. You're in my house hanging out with me, and I'm teaching you and helping you.
Yeah.
And then you get the online courses. So it's $9.97. It's a no-brainer. Right.
It absolutely is. I mean, from the perspective of the client, it is a no-brainer to take the $9.97. So on a webinar, how many webinars do you run per month for that package?
We do pretty much what we just started, literally, and we're doing one a week now. Yeah.
You're doing one a week, and then
yeah,
how many? Are you getting quite a few people to register?
Yeah. So we've got between 500 to 700 that have registered in the last two webinars. Now, of course, not all of them show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like probably about 25% show up, and I've checked with some folks, and I thought we'd get more. You always think like everybody's going to come to yours, right?
Yeah.
I have to remember it's cold traffic, and I've got to remember that a lot of these folks don't know me yet, and a lot of them they sign up for stuff like me too, sign up for something and don't actually go on the live one and maybe watch the replay, or So now we're in the coming up on the third week, and we're in the nurturing sequence now of trying to get all those folks that did not come on.
Yeah. What are you seeing as lead cost for a webinar?
I don't know, honestly, because I've farmed all that stuff out.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we only been doing it for 2 weeks, so I haven't had a chance to go through with the team to see what the lead cost is.
So when you're selling from stage, then, and you're selling the $997 package, what are you closing on a stage wise?
So here's one of the things that I always teach is a very big important thing. It's not like any stage you'll have great closing on. Well, you can if you manipulate, right? I always say it's more important to have the right fish in the pond.
Sure.
So to answer your question, if I'm at like a life coaching event, the conversions aren't going to be that high because most of them are broke. But if I'm at an entrepreneur event where there's a bunch of entrepreneurs, conversions are extremely high. I've closed an entrepreneur event as much as 70, 80%, and I've closed as low as like 20% at life coach events because there's not great fish in the pond, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. And, so I always say you got to be selective of which. That's why I don't speak at all events. I only speak at events. This is key. I only speak at events where I believe the right fish are in the pond who will stay in my pond for many years as buyers.
And how do you know that they're the right fish?
If I look at like the registration fee for the event, I look at like how many events the person who's putting it on may have been running. Like if it's the first event, I talk to them on the phone. I try to get an understanding. I can pretty much gauge based on how someone talks, whether they know what they're doing with events or not. So I want to talk to them on the phone. I want to look at their registration fee. How much do they charge? A higher registration fee, better person in the pond, if you will.
Totally.
So when I would speak at like the Dan Kennedy events over the years, and their registration fee was like $1,200 to $1,800 a person. Wow. This is a good pond to be fishing in, right?
Yep.
Because they're paying to be there, right? These folks already, and here's important too. So if my price point like is $997 and they're paying $1,200 to be there, it's going to be a slam dunk on the conversion. So just look at the psychology of those type of things too. If they're paying like $37 to be there, and there's a lot of brand new type business people, and it's an event that's maybe first or second time running, I don't know if I want to go spend my time doing that, because even though they might buy, right, bad back end. Yeah. And here's a key that a lot of folks don't think about when they speak. I don't go speak to make a sell. Anybody can do that. I speak to make a sell to get somebody that buys from me over and over and over for years.
Mm-hmm. No,
I want to be selective about the pond.
Yeah. And then what? So the higher the ticket. So what would be like the lowest ticket you would look for before you go speak?
I mean, I like a minimum of like $197 on the very low end.
Very low
end. I like them to have between the $500 and $1,000 range. And I like it if they have 2-3 different levels, like the VIP levels, etc.
Yeah. But that's your sweet spot.
Yeah. And again, for me, I remember my offer, I've hovered around $997 for years because it just converts like crazy. And so I want to try to look for fees, registration fees that are around the $1,000 level for sure. Because I know they already are overcome that mental hump of the price.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, that's great. And so let's say like your last event, how many did you sell from stage? Like your last maybe 2 or 3 events?
I was in Scotland speaking a few weeks ago. And I really didn't think it was going to go great because there were people from all different countries, right? And China, Singapore. And remember, my offer is come to my house. That's right. the real secret, right? And I'm like, no one's going to fly from like, UK and, all over China and Singapore and Australia. Are they really going to fly? And I did really well. Sold like 60 of them. And there was about, 150, 130 people there or something like that.
No, that's fantastic. And so then
here's what shocked me. I got to tell you this, Trey. This shocked the heck out of me. If you look at the number of people who bought, the majority of them were from other countries.
Really?
Not the U.S., even though there were some U.S. people there. Like I thought it would be like, 80% US, 20% other countries, I was completely shocked. It was flip-flop the other way.
Okay. And so when you have these 60 sales, how many usually show up to the 3-day training?
Yeah. So if we do our job the right way, and we're really good at it following up, we mail them stuff. We mail them unsuspected surprise gifts, like they get a surprise autographed copy of my book, Millionaire Success Secrets, hardcover book.
That's great.
We mail to them often. We email them. So I would say, if I had to guess, honestly, 60 to 70% show up. There's still like 30 to 40% that don't show up. That drives me crazy.
Sure.
How in the world do you invest in something and don't take advantage of it? But we all do, I guess, in some way.
Well, I agree.
I'm sorry.
I'm just curious. I'm questioning your funnel right now. I'm breaking it down in my mind. So you got this 3-day training. Now, are the people in the 3-day training only allowed to come to the mastermind if they attend that?
No, not at all. Because I get 2 chances to offer coaching to them.
Okay.
They come to the 3-day training, which that's the larger event. Like we've had as many as like 700-800 people there. Here's what I learned. Let me just talk on the funnel piece of the 3-day event. I thought the more people I would have, the more per head revenue you would do. And that just isn't true. I remember Dan Kennedy telling me that. I was in Dan's mastermind and coaching for a long time. And I remember him telling me that. I used to think, like, once I go from like 250 to 500, you automatically double the revenue. He's like, that's not true. Because you lose the bigger you get, you lose the intimacy with the people. So I look at per head. So like if you do a total number of revenue at an event and you divide it amongst per head, like the number of people who are in the audience, what's your per head take? And when I have 200 people in my event, this is just me, when I have like 200 people, my per head is crazy, like 3, 4, 5 times more than if I have 800 people in the event. So for me, the 2 to 250 person, keeping them small, but doing maybe 3, 4 a year instead of one with 1,000 people. For me, it's better to keep the smaller ones because on a per head conversion, the revenue is so much higher.
Gotcha. And do you feel that it takes 3 days to convert them into a 25K, or do you think you could do it 2 or 1?
Never tried 1 because my event. Again, I'm just speaking from my perspective. There's so many different ways to do it out there. But I really teach people over 3 days. Like it's high content. It's me on stage for 8, 10, 12 hours. It's not a whole bunch of speakers. It's not a dog and pony show. It's not a big pitch fest. It's me teaching. And that's one of the things I think is a big loyalty builder with people where like they kind of know like, oh my gosh, if you want to like see smoke and mirrors, go to other people's speaker events. If you really want to learn how to do this business, go to Malinchak because that guy will teach you more in the first 3 hours than you'll learn at all other events combined. Just designed it. I want to really be a teaching event. So I think for that purpose, I need 3 days.
No, that's amazing. Turn off my alarms here. That's amazing because I love the 3 days. So what day do you pitch the coaching? You just pitch that on day 2 or day 3?
Yeah, morning of day 2.
Morning of day 2. All right.
Morning of day 2, and
good morning. 25K today.
The end of the morning.
The end of the morning.
But then, see, here's the thing. Now I have a whole nother day and a half to keep pitching, and then do a repitch and do other, or do a like a pickup offer. So like there may be something where somebody may not, like for you, you might have an event and you're offering a 25K and you offer that on day 2 in the morning, but people aren't ready to step up to the 25K. So maybe we come back in on Sunday with a 10K different pitch to get the people who aren't ready to step up to your 25K, for example.
Oh. So
there's a repitch of repitching your coaching again. And then there's also a pickup pitch. So you pick up people at the 10 grand level instead of the 25. So that's why I like to have it kind of like right in the middle, because now I have another day and a half to do a different pitch.
So are you seeing 70% with those 2 offers or 70% usually on the first offer?
It's with all offers. Well, so first of all, the 70% is at my house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this, what we're talking about here is a live event with all the people. I have 200 people there, but the 7 out of 10 is at my house where I have 15 people. That's the little two-day mastermind at my house.
That's amazing. So like little small event, cashing in big.
Well, I mean, so, and here's the thing that I've figured out. See, when I used to do the events where I'd have 700-800 people and I'd have all these celebrity speakers, right? You know, it was a lot of work, first of all. Number two, I could not build relationships with people in the audience because there's just so many people and so many moving parts. Mm-hmm. And here's the crazy thing. It was a lot more work than bringing 15 people to my house. Like, because I have folks who say, you spend 2 days with people at your house, coaching them, genuinely helping them, and all they did was buy a $9.97 package on the front end. I'm like, yeah, and I love it. And here's one of the reasons I think the conversion's so high is because it's intimate. Like, I'm there with them. I'm hanging out with them on a break. I'm having sandwiches, lunch with them. We're talking around my pool. It's not like the big event where I got to leave for an hour and go rest because I'm exhausted and then come back and teach. And so if you look at a per head basis from 15 people at my house versus a couple of hundred at an event, it's so much more lucrative and so much less work and less energy draining to do the 15 people at the house.
That's great. So how do you take the 200 people and divide them into little 15-person masterminds?
Yeah, so like if you bought a package today, you would get a email and also stuff in the mail that would explain, hey, here's how to access your digital courses. Here's when the upcoming next training is, the Big Money Speaker Conference. And then here are some dates that we have set aside for the next 5 months where you can pick. You just go on a scheduling system and you pick which 2-day event at the house you want to come to, and everything else is just automated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then if you cancel out, you just go and cancel. So like, let's say we fill up a 2-day training at the house, right? And it says sold out. But if you come in and have to cancel, as soon as you pull out, it opens up and everybody else who's on the waiting list gets emailed that, hey, we had a slot open up for December 12th and 13th. And so, boom, the funnel just gets automated and then filled up with somebody else.
That's a great little system, little machine right there.
That's our whole funnel, Trey.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
There's no $7 tripwire to the 47, to the 97, to the 197. I said, look, I want to make this easy. My funnel is you come in at $1,000. If you're not willing to start off with $1,000, so then I said, well, wait, how can I give so much value that so many more people would say, I wasn't planning on starting with this $1,000 with this guy. Man, I get so much stuff. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Right? That's how I constructed it. So my entry is $9.97. It's not a $7 tripwire. There's many ways to do it. I just said, I don't want to do that. I want to go from $9.97 right up to the higher level of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
A whole funnel. That is the entire funnel right there.
I mean, it's simple, it's effective, and it's profitable. Sounds like your profit margins are probably really high.
Well, what's my expense? My expense is a Mercedes van that picks people up from the hotel down the street, which is literally $120 each way, right? And then lunch, because I buy everybody lunch. So do that for my expense for 2 days at my house is $1,000.
Oh, wow.
$1,000. Whereas my expense over here, putting a big event on, shoot, I'm $100,000 minimum in the hole by the time I pay the celebrity speakers and buy the food. And I get, some of that back with vendors and sponsors and things like that, and ticket sales. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm $100,000 versus $1,000.
Yeah, it's big. It's big. So you enjoy doing that piece. One other question is, when you do the pitch at the training and at the mastermind, are you including financing into your $25K, like outside financing, or you just?
No, I chose not to. There are folks who do. I don't want to get into that possibility of a mess. I don't want anybody coming in who should not be coming in financially. And I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I have a lot of friends in the real estate space that do it and other spaces that do it. And I said, look, we want to keep this simple and easy. And I tell people all the time, look, I just don't know if this is right for you financially. Maybe you ought to hold off and not do this. And, when it's better for you, come back, and then we'll take a look at having you come into the program. The other thing, too, is folks fill out an application for us to accept them. So it's not like anybody can just sign up. You got to fill out an application. Just want to make sure that, and this is key, I know I'm right for them. I've done 2,000 one-on-one consultations with people. I've been doing this a long time. I know there aren't too many scenarios I haven't seen, right? And if you go to bigmoneyspeaker.com and look at my celebrity reviews and look at some of the folks that I've helped, a lot of people, there's over 60 like thought leaders and celebrities there that I've helped. I know that my stuff works. I make people fill out an application to make sure that they're right for me. The right person coming, because they're coming. Once you join our program, you spend 5 hours one-on-one with me where I sit down and I kind of dissect everything. So think about this. For 25 grand, sure, you get 3 masterminds, you get phone calls, you get online trainings, but then you come to my house and I sit knee to knee with you, face to face with you and your team, and I spend 5 hours figuring everything out for you. There's nobody at 25 grand who does that for you.
Yeah,
so
no, that's big.
That helps with our conversion too, because they're getting personal time with me.
Sure, yeah, that's what everybody wants. They want personal time with a big dog.
So I want to make sure that they're right for me. You know, we're inviting them into my house. We're treating them like family. We're not sticking them in a hotel room. They're coming to my house, and we're going to help you, and I'm going to make you successful. And we're going to crank this thing for you.
No, that's great. That's a great offer. That's what a good mentor Perry Belcher would always say is create an.
I love Perry.
Yeah, create an irresistible offer that they just can't say no to. And you call it the dumbass offer. I think it's kind of the same thing. Like you can't say no to this offer because it's so good.
Yeah. I remember Armin Moore, a big internet marketer, made an offer one time. It was $10,000 to come to his house and spend a day with him, and then be in his program for his internet marketing program for a year. And I was like, wait a minute, for 10 grand, I get to come to 3 of your masterminds in your house, but I also get to come and spend a day with you in your house? And he goes, yeah. Oh my gosh, here. Like literally, it was that fast.
Yeah.
It was so irresistible. Like, how can I say no to that?
So this leads me to a good point. Now that we're here and we can learn everything past getting paid the $997. What's interesting with like the clientele that I work with is they're selling, the $7 products, the 10,
Sure.
20, 30, 40, $50 products, and they're learning how to build databases within niches. So the gardening niche, the trucker niche, the baseball niche, and they're building databases of people who are inspired and passionate about that particular niche. 25,000, 50,000, 75,000 people in an email database. And the thing is they see it, they're like, okay, wow, I can see this, like the database is there. And now it's to go out and monetize the database. And I think this is a great bridge because once you have people that you can talk to, that believe in you, that trust you, you can say, hey, guess what? We're hosting an event. Maybe it's a 2-day event or workshop where they can get 100 to 200 people to show up from their list of 25 to 50,000 people at a, I don't know, like you said, $300, $400 ticket price. Here's who we're going to have in. Here's some speakers, whatever, come on in. To do some sponsorships with other people who have the products anyways, but then sell from stage on some higher ticket pieces. Now, I think the biggest roadblock or question they would have is what would I coach them on, or what would I, give them as a $997 offer leading into a $25,000 offer. So what would you kind of say to those guys?
Yeah, so I always tell folks, like, you want to try to create, this is what I try to do for my coaching members when I'm sitting one-on-one with them, is one of the fastest ways to get people that want to join your following, if you will, is to create what I call your proprietary process. So how did you do what you are doing? Or is there a unique system you created? Or is there something you figured out that allowed you to get a lot more buyers faster than the traditional way? What's that, like the thing, the secret sauce? And then let's framework that. Let's turn that into like the 5 steps or the 4 or the 3 or the 8, right? Let's try to make it into a process, because sometimes folks will say, man, I don't know. I just do what I do, right? And I'm like, well, okay, let's break it down. Let's figure it out, because if we can put it into something that I can follow and have success doing what you're doing, man, I'll pay you big bucks for that.
Yeah.
So that's the very first step, is try to take figure out what it is you do, right? Because a lot of folks don't know what they do. They just do it, right? And break it down into the 3, 4, 5, 8 at the most steps that you do, because that becomes your process. And I'll bet if you look at what you do over and over and over, you start to see patterns of like, oh yeah, I do this every time and I do that every time. So you start to create your own proprietary process by frameworking it. And there are others who will, that is what you would teach in a course. And that is what you would teach in your event that people would come to. And check this out. Your offer for your coaching or mastermind is simply, hey, if you all liked what I taught you here at the event over the last 3 days, how about let's go deeper now? How about coming into a more intimate setting where I help you implement all these things? So these 5 steps that I've been teaching you over the last 2 or 3 days, how about if I help you implementing over the next 12 months and you have me as your sounding board, your board of directors, if you will, your research that you come to when you have questions. I'm just your guide. I'm your coach that helps navigate you through the waters.
Yeah, no, that's great. So then wouldn't they be building their own competition?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, right? I believe, here's my choice is this. I believe we live in a world of abundance where the pie is big enough for everyone. Like, I have no problem. If you are a speaker, trainer, Trey, like for example, and you came and said, man, how did you build your seminar business? And how do you have 120 plus coaching members? And how do you fill up a room? I'm happy to tell you, man, because that's a state of abundance. So I choose to live in abundance versus lack.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any competition. Are there people who do what you do? Sure. But you know what? It's a great space and a great place to live your life from. Is sharing and serving and giving and helping. And yes, that means people who you might deem as a competitor.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And I think that's where we're going to end today. Before we go behind the scenes with Kommerce Kings. So I'll be here in just 1 minute. But James, thank you for being on here. This has been incredible. This is a full circle of, I think we went backwards, but it was great to kind of end that way. Than going the other way, because that's pretty cool. Like, we went down the mountain versus climbing the mountain. that was spectacular. I don't know about you, but I learned so much. Like, that was really valuable. Where can they find you?
Oh, it's real simple. It's www.bigmoneyspeaker.com. Got a free webinar on there, bigmoneyspeaker.com. Free webinar. If you want to see this packaging and how to make a $9.97 offer with all the modalities, get on the free webinar. And man, hope to see you at my house.
There you go. Come on down to Jamestown. Like, that's where it's at. And you get to play in the pool. That's a bonus. I would throw that in a bonus.
I got basketball. I got putt golf, man. It's fun at my house.
Oh, man. Well, thank you, man, for being on here. We're going to switch behind the scenes with Kommerce Kings. Hey, see you guys. Have a good one.